All right, man, what's going on? So y'all know what time it is, man. It's time for the full gamut of Pick'em, all right? I've already broke down a couple of these matchups. I'm going to do it every week. Just the top matchups I like the most. Give some analysis, give my thoughts on it, what to look out for, who I got winning. So I already did that with Penn State, Ohio State. I've done it with Texas A&M and South Carolina. And I've also done that with Oregon and Michigan. So let's get into the rest of the picks. All right, so first off, y'all know I'm going with Ohio State, so I won't say too much more on that. I've already talked about it in a recent video, what they need to do in order to come out with a victory in that one. Should be a good one. All right, now Duke, Miami. I've kind of gave that one on my YouTube shorts. Like I said, I'm going with Miami. I just think they're too talented. Defense is good. Offense, they can score points in bunches. Cam Ward is special. They can run the ball with Damian Martinez. Got Restrepo. Got Arroyo. They got just too many weapons. Duke's not gonna be able to hang. A little bit challenged offensively, and I can say that because I've seen Duke in person this year when they played Georgia Tech. Just a little bit. If they can't get the running game going, they struggle offensively. I don't think this is the week Miami gets a loss. So we'll go with the Canes. Next up, I told you I'm taking Oregon. I think Michigan with just the revolving door of the quarterbacks. It's tough to say that they're going to go and win that. Now, Ann Arbor's a different environment in its totality, but Oregon has played some tough teams already on the road. So I feel like they're ready. Dylan Gabriel's a Heisman candidate. They can run the ball with Jordan James. Got Ted Johnson, who's having a phenomenal year. Just too many weapons. And this offense is quick fire, right? Quick strike. They can, once they get the ball, they can score quickly. 2-play, 3-play, 1-play drives. You know what I'm saying? And when the defense is playing at the level they're playing, I feel pretty good. And with Davis Warren getting the start, 3 touchdowns, 6 interceptions, that makes it kind of tough for Michigan. They're going to have to try to run the ball with Donovan Edwards and Mulligans, but that's going to be tough. Easier said than done. Nonetheless, I'm going with Oregon. All right, one I have not talked about this week, and that's Florida, Georgia. Now, Florida has gotten steadily better, in each game this season, right? And we see in the emergence of DJ Lagway. Did he have a great game last week? No, 249 yards and interception. But he's showing you in that game, I think he had 5 completions over 40 yards. That's dangerous. Now, Georgia has shown the ability to shut down opponents. They did it against Texas, right? But we've seen earlier in the season them kind of struggle with a Mississippi State, maybe even Auburn to a degree in that first half, right? With such a young secondary, right? Still got Malachi Starks, KJ Bowen, who's plays the star position, who's coming on. But we've seen them struggle in spots a little bit. But I think it's going to be key if Lagway can hit on some of those throws and they can run the ball with Montrell Johnson. I'm not going to say they're going to beat Georgia because that's easier said than done. And Georgia's been winning this series easily, handily. But if you can hit on some of them strikes, you can hit on some of them deep balls, and you got a running game going, you can kind of, I want to say you can have a little bit of success. So it's going to be interesting. Can Florida defense actually slow down Carson Beck? He's been a little turnover prone this year, right? 8 interceptions in the past 4 games, right? That's not a recipe for success. So if they can create pressure, their defense can be opportunistic and aggressive. Florida has a better chance than you think. Now, I'm not going to say they're going to pull it out. You know what I'm saying? But I think if Florida can do those kind of things, they could possibly make this game a little more interesting. Sorry about that, y'all. I had to burp. But they can make this game a little bit more interesting, in my humble opinion. But I'm going to still roll with Georgia until I see otherwise. Hard for me to go with a Florida upset in this one. Playing at neutral field, we talked about the big changes this week on the play at Mercedes-Benz in 2025, I believe it is, or 2026. And then they're going to play at, obviously, in Orlando potentially for Florida after, the renovations to Everbank Stadium in Jacksonville. So going with Georgia, nonetheless, they should win. Same thing here with Iowa State. I'm rolling with them. They having a good year, man. They can run the football. Texas Tech's having a decent season as well. But when you at home, you're on ESPN. Iowa State's just having such a great year with Big 12. Likely in collision course with a Big 12 title game. I just think they're that good. And when you look at what they can do on both sides of the ball, I got to go with the Cyclones, man. I think they beat Texas Tech pretty handily at home. Now, next up, you got Michigan State and Indiana. Some people have this game on upset watch, but I think with their quarterback coming back, Curtis Rourke, I think that bodes well for them. I think they're going to be able to run the football, and I think they're going to be throwing it. And what's underrated about this team this year? The defense. Defense has been playing some really good ball, man. And I know Michigan State plays tough, and they play Michigan tough, but this is a whole different animal. Kirk Cincinnati, they're trying to do something they have not done in school history. Go 9-0. Hey, good luck with that one against this elite team, you know what I'm saying? And then you got history on the line potential for them, something they've never done. Hey, I think they're going to be motivated. I think they're going to be ready. And I think they come out with a victory. Now, this one I've talked already in an individual matchup. I said I had South Carolina. Some people in my comments, I said, well, it's not an upset if everybody's taking them to win. But it would still be considered an upset. Texas A&M is the number 10 ranked team in the country. South Carolina has 3 losses this year, right? And some of y'all believe that Lenore Sellers is not really. Y'all don't think he's ready for this moment to beat them. But I'm telling y'all, there's something about that William Bryce Stadium, especially, either during the day or at night. And I think they can run the ball with Eames Sanders, and I think they can make it tough for Texas A&M. This one with possibly Marcel Reed starting. Again, it's just a different environment. When we look at SEC environments, it's hard to rival those, in my humble opinion. So I'm really going to go with the Gamecocks. I think they're going to be able to make enough plays, and if they can slow down the running attack of Le'Veon Moss and make that quarterback feel uncomfortable, right, with Kyle Kennard with 8.5 sacks this year, and they can get pressure early, they get in his head a little bit. That's a tough spot to be in on the road, and such an emotional win the week before against LSU. It's tough to ask somebody to do that again. So, nonetheless, I'm going with the Gamecocks. They come out with a win. Next up, you got a pretty good one. I asked a question earlier this week and did a video on it. Who do you trust more, Tyler Show or you trust Cade Klubnik? Now, I said I trust Cade Klubnik more because I feel like, I don't want to say he's more proven, but Show has dealt with a lot of injuries over the course of his career. And I feel like I trust him more against that Louisville defense, which I feel is more susceptible to giving up big plays. You know what I'm saying? Clemson defense is playing at a high level right now. Nobody's talking about it. Secondary's coming along. Got some young guys in there, but they're stepping up big, right? Killer Barnes is having another good season. Yeah, Barnes is having another good season. Avion Terrell's coming on. Like that, Sandy Brown's getting some play and getting some stain as a true freshman. Defensive line's been causing havoc. I just think it's going to be tough for them, especially on the road in Death Valley. Hey, man, good luck. And then, like I said, Cade Klubnik has gotten better and better and better each week. Everybody felt like the house was closing down when they lost to Georgia. But again, we see Georgia's an elite team. So that's the creme de la creme. And we know Clemson's the creme de la creme in the ACC. And they continue to prove that. And I think he's got better every week. He's hitting Brian Wesco. He's hitting all his receivers. And I think Clemson's going to be ready, man. It should be a good game. But I think the Tigers are going to win this one pretty handily. They're just too elite of a team for Louisville. So I'm going with the Tigers. All right, next up, you got Tennessee versus Kentucky. Another big game for Tennessee. Kentucky has kind of struggled lately. We've seen that big win they had against Ole Miss earlier in the season, but offensively just hasn't been the same team. Really struggling a lot. Defense usually has been pretty decent this year, but I think this is the game. This is the get-right game for Tennessee. Tennessee finally finds everything they need. And Nico Lemileva comes out big-time game from him throwing the football to get the running game going. They at home on SEC Network. I think the Volunteers win this one at least by 2 or 3 scores, in my humble opinion. Just too explosive on offense. So going with the Volunteers. All right, the next one, we got an elite ACC matchup. I already told you I'm going with SMU. But yeah, the big thing in this game is definitely going to be quarterback. And the reason I say that, right, Eli Hosting's having a good year for them. Banged up. You know what I'm saying? Kevin Jennings for SMU, a little banged up. But the key is he's been 5-0 as a star of the season. So he's been doing his thing. Jennings has 1,594 yards passing and 10 touchdowns this season, man. So that's key for both teams. You want to be healthy and whole. Now, the challenge in this game is, can Pittsburgh slow down that offense? Now, they've already faced a pretty good offense the week before against Syracuse, and they made Kyle McCord look human. You know what I'm saying? Not saying he hasn't looked human this year, but they really disrupted him, right? 3 pick sixes, I think, and 4 turnovers total last week on Thursday night. But this is the number 3 ranked offense in the SEC, or in the ACC, 477 yards. Can that Pittsburgh defense do that again? We know what they can do as far as a defensive line and creating pressure, but can you do it for another week and slow them down? That's going to be tough. You know what I'm saying? That's going to be tough. So that's my key for them. Can Pitt slow that down? We're going to find out. Kyle Jennings continues to do well. All you got to do is just not turn over the football, take what the defense gives him. It should be pretty good, man. But I'm going to go with SMU at home. Then it's a tough spot for the true freshman to be on the road, 8 p.m., ACC Network. Not saying he can't do it. He's played good in some big games. Didn't have to play as well last game because the defense basically won it for him. But I think that's a tough test. So I'm going to go with SMU. They remain undefeated in the ACC play, and they continue to show that they are for real. Some people feel like they played a cupcake schedule. I don't think so. You know what I'm saying? I think they've been playing the games that they need to play. But I think they come out on top, hand Pittsburgh the first loss of the season. All right, man. So that is my pick, man. As y'all can see, I'll go through it real quick. Ohio State, Miami, Oregon, Georgia, Iowa State, Indiana, South Carolina upset, Clemson, Tennessee, and SMU, man. Y'all comment below. What's your thoughts? Who y'all picking this week to come out on top?